Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutterbyheidi.co.uk, back again with another project for you. This time we've got a pretty card which could be used for all sorts of occasions, and it's using the lovely new stamp set and coordinating dies Follow Your Dreams. As you can see here, it's a clear mount stamp set, so that it mounts onto our clear blocks, or you can buy it in wood mount, and it comes with coordinating dies that you can see most of here. One I've got to one side ready for the project. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on. So to start off with, I'm going to make a card base, and I've just used half a sheet of A4, so I've cut that to 5 7/8 by 5 7/8 by the whole width of A4, and then scored it at 4 1/8. If you're working in centimetres, then that would be 14.5 centimetres by 21 centimetres and scored at 10.5. So having made our card base, which you can see here, we then cut some layers for it. So I've worked in inches, and so these are just 1/4 inch smaller. So this is smoky slate. No, yes, it is smoky slate. Make sure your card's open the right way. And just pop that on there. So this layer is just 1/4 inch. So that's 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. Which would be 14 by 10 centimetres. And then the next layer, this is beautiful new petal pink colour, which is a lovely kind of peachy pink. And you pop that on there, and that again is just 1/4 inch smaller, so that's 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. Yes, something like that. Anyway, I'll put the measurements on my blog. So that's our basic card, and what I've forgotten to do is actually do the stamping. So before you do the petal pink, although it doesn't matter, I'm taking one of the large Dreamcatcher stamp, and the reason I say do it before you is in case you make a mistake. So I'm going to have to get it right now, but all you do is I just pop that on there, and by eye. Now this colour is a beautiful colour because it dries quite dark, but then it lightens up as it goes along. So we're going to pop that to one side to dry, and then I then use the various dies in here, and there's this one. So we have this die, which if you wanted to, you could cut out that main image there. And then you've got this smaller die which cuts out a complete Dreamcatcher as well. So what I've done is I've cut one of those out in smoky slate and another one out in the petal pink. Now, one of the problems with die cuts is obviously when they are fine like this, you can come in with fine tip glue, and that works well. Or the other thing you can do is use our liquid Tombow and a piece of sponge. So what you do is pop a blob of glue onto, I've got silicone, it's not a silicone sheet, it's just like a almost like an oven liner sheet, which is what you could use. Get a piece of sponge and just kind of make sure that is covered. Make sure you don't move your die cut, but just sponge gently over that. Lift it up, and you've then got glue all the way over. Putting our sheet to one side. My favourite thing is to pop it down, and then I've just slightly offset that like so. And what I did when I was doing it, my sample, I just lined up the little feathers like so, and I used those to kind of get the alignment layer. Like so. And that just gives it a lovely sort of shaded feeling. Then you just repeat that to make sure you're on a bit that hasn't got any glue on it. Pop our piece of sponge and my Tombow, which I have put to one side and can't now see. Okay, well, this is the other way you can do it, which is easier on this one because you've got a bigger area. Just dot over the back. And I find with the fine tip glue, because it is more liquid than Tombow glue, I just put that to one side very slightly. I think I must have dropped my Tombow. Oh well, never mind. And when you're using the fine tip glue, when you pop it back in, if you just rest that piece on your finger and then slide the needle in, you won't have any problems. Never force it. Take it back and take bits, any dried bits off it if you're ever having difficulties getting it in. Because what you don't want to do is bend that pin, because once it's bent, you're going to really struggle to get it in. So then we've got our card, and then all I'm going to do is pop that just slightly to the side here, so it's sort of aligned really with the right of that, and just gently press it down. There we go. Again, pop that to one side. And then we're going to stamp across, which is the reason for not making your card up. I should have started again, really, shouldn't I? But all I'm doing, and this is why it's quite an easy one, is taking those stamps and just stamping diagonally across. So those create a nice background for us, to which we can soon add our stamped and die cut feathers. Now the feathers are rather pretty, and they actually come, as you can see there, it's a threesome. So you can see, so when you stamp them, you've got sort of the two overlapping ones at the bottom and then a single one. So when you stamp that, you have that little trio. But then our die cut, when you pop that through, so there's the die for it, you then end up with a single feather and a paired feather. So that's like so. So all you do is pop that through. Sometimes if you haven't got a magnetic platform, it's a good idea to use a little bit of tape. But all I'm doing here is I'm using my magnetic platform, my old and battered sheet panel, and then pop your next panel on the top, and then just run that through your die cutting machine. Obviously I'm using my Big Shot, and as you can see, just pop those out and you've got some more feathers ready to go. So all I'm going to use now are some dimensionals, and this is where our mini dimensionals come in really handy. And before, what I do is I just sort of lay them on without taking the background of the background layer off, and just decide how I'm going to pop those on, like so. There we go. So that's the effect that I want to create. And what I'm going to do is, before I put my last one on, I'm going to add my word dream just across the bottom there, which I've cut in smoky slate as well. And I've put that on flat to the surface. And again with this, because it's a word, this is another use for our fine tip glue, like so. And to make it stand out that little bit more, you can then put it onto a second die cut word as well. Just make sure you pop out all those little pieces. So all you do is, this time we're not offsetting, because we just want to create dimension. and then again, turn over, do exactly the same again. Pop our fine tip glue, so again just rest that on your fingertip. That allows you to slide that in. And then pop this directly on to the bottom of our card. Then once that's in place, then you can sort of decide which you're going to have where. So I've just stamped these onto Whisper White in the Petal Pink, and then die cut them and onto our layer. And the mini dimensionals are so great for this because they literally just fit on the back. There we go. So there we have a pretty card. There's our original one. As you can see, just that simple bit of layering and adding a little bit of dimension. I've put it at the bottom here, which I think actually you could put it a bit further up. I like both. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. If you'd like to purchase this stamp set, it is the Follow Your Dreams. Pop along to my shop, heidismith.stampinup.net. Follow the links to shop, or use the links in the description on my blog below, flutterbyheidi.co.uk. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. Bye now.